Alright guys, this is just a little tutorial video showing how I do the aged or weathered metal effects on my builds. I am by no means an expert, but it's a technique I like to use and I think it works pretty well. So I just figured I'd show you guys how it's done. Now the first thing I do is I cover the piece in a base color, which in this case is titanium silver from Tamiya. Now, in order to create an aged effect of the metal, over the base coat of titanium silver, I apply titanium gold from Tamiya. Very, very lightly, just a dusting of the titanium gold, which may not even show up on this camera. Let me just get my airbrush ready. And just to yellow the metal a little bit, just to create the illusion of shadows. Now I'm going to start painting, just to give you an idea of how I do this. It's going to get a little noisy in here because I got to turn on the fan for the spray booth here that we're in. This is my first time doing a tutorial video of this kind, so bear with me if it's not a work of art. Alright, let's get started. First we start basically where you can imagine any shadows will be. I'm just going to add a little bit of the gold just to darken the middle a little bit there. Along edges, along recesses. Very light dusting of it. You don't want it to be super obvious. You just want it to discolor slightly. So that where there is a huge change in the shape of the object you're painting, you will create a slightly darker shadow. And basically this is all about just doing it till it looks right to you. And I think with the gold we are pretty much done there. You can see the discoloration that's forming, highlighting where one angle of the transmission housing meets another. And this sort of highlights the changes in those angles and the recesses that are in the transmission housing itself. So this is more of just a highlight, not really adding the shadow yet. Now we move on to, let me just do a little bit more. Real easy to get carried away with this. It's kind of fun to do. There we go. And you have to make sure you don't get it on the engine block itself, which I did a bit, but it's not really that important at this point. Normally I would have masked it off, but just a fun build, so I'm not really that going that deep into it. Alright, now we're going to go on to, the first step is the base color, second step is applying the Tamiya gold as a highlight. Now we're going to apply some shadows. I'll be right back with that. Okay, now let me explain that again. I forgot I had the fan going while I was explaining it before. The colors that I use for this are X31 Titanium Gold from Tamiya, X33 Bronze from Tamiya, and TS88 Titanium Silver for the base, or sometimes I will use the Titanium Silver from the bottle through the airbrush, depending on the part that I'm painting. Now, as you can see the highlighted areas where there's a slight color differentiation between the silver and the gold, and that gives you the illusion of shadows. Now we're just going to accentuate that by using the bronze, as that will provide the actual shadow that we're going to be applying to the object to really heighten the realistic illusion of the metal. All right, let me go and start with the painting. I'm turning on the fan again, so let's check it out. If you can hear me over the fan, I am now about to just apply the Tamiya Bronze over the Tamiya Titanium Silver, or Titanium Gold, to really highlight where the shadow areas are. Just a light dusting. Have to adjust the paint flow. You only want a very small amount of paint, because you don't want it to be a line. All you want it to be is like that. That's all pretty much what you want. You just want to darken the areas. Again, it's just do what looks right to you and what feels right. Everyone's going to do it a little bit differently, but it really does give you just the airbrush again, a little more paint. Want to hit the recesses, the areas where you think shadows may form, because light won't get into every crevice, where the metal angles change, and that's where shadows will form. Corners just a little bit, just to give it that slight. This is basically what you're doing, is weathering the transmission. And again, it's just a question of going just far enough without going too far. And I think that is as far as I'm going to go with this particular piece here. There you can see now the weathering effect is complete. And I'll add just a little bit more here. And the final part will be adding some Tamiya panel line paint to highlight all of the panel lines, and all the details in the piece. Now this is, I think I'm happy with this here. I've gotten a lot of questions on how exactly I do this, and this is basically it. It's not too difficult, it just takes a little bit of practice, and it really gives you a nice metallic finish with your shadows, which looks great when it's in the car. At least I think it does. So that's it for this tutorial. Hope you guys liked it. Like I said, this is my first time doing a tutorial like this. I don't consider myself a pro at all, but you know, it's just I like the way it comes out, and I just figured I'd show you guys how I do it. There we go. Let's take a look at it without the bright lights from the spray booth. And here you can see how the shadows are created everywhere that the metal changes direction, or that the shape of the object changes direction in the dark recesses, which gives it a really nice weathered metallic look. Alright, well that's it for this little tutorial. Hope you guys liked it. I'll see you on the next one. Okay, I just dropped the camera. Okay, okay, here is another piece that I just did. Now this one I did to create a burned effect on the metal, as these are the pipes going to the turbos, or that's what they're supposed to be. It looks doesn't really look like that to me, but hey, this is the way the model came. Now, by applying the bronze a little bit darker and heavier than I did on the transmission, it goes from shadows to giving the look of heat discolored metal. So based on how much of the colors you apply, you can get different effects for the part you're using, and it actually makes the part look a lot more detailed than what it actually is. So just thought I'd show you that, and show you that you can create different effects using the same technique by just varying the amount of paint that you use. Now I use this technique on all my exhausts and any sort of undercarriage parts that are exposed to the elements and to heat. And I think it looks pretty good. Actually makes this part look less like a misshapen hunk of plastic and more like it's actually something that could be in a car. I'm going to top it off with a little bit of detail painting and some of the Tamiya panel line wash, and actually makes it look pretty decent. Alright, just thought I'd come back with that one to show you what different types of effects you can get. Alright, this time I'm really out.